University Press Audiobooks presents Lewis and Clark, a Chelsea House title. Written by Samuel Williard Crompton. Narrated by Tony Craine. This audio edition is based on the book published by Chelsea House Publishers, an imprint of Infobase Publishing. Chapter 1. He Who Never Walks. It was hot in the Rocky Mountains that August, but Captain Lewis knew the weather could change at any time. One of two co-captains of the Corps of Discovery, Meriwether Lewis now was the advance man as well. He was seeking the best route for the expedition. Commissioned by President Thomas Jefferson, and carrying the full credit of the United States, Captain Lewis had a great deal of responsibility. His party, which included a woman and her infant son, as well as more than 30 men, had come safely thus far. The group had to obtain horses soon, however, if they were to make it over the Rocky Mountains. The Great Divide. On August 11, 1805, Captain Lewis spotted a mounted American Indian in the distance. He could not be certain, but he suspected that this man was of the Shoshone tribe, the people that the Lewis and Clark expedition wished to contact. Moving slowly forward, Lewis made signals in the sign language of the American Indians of the Great Plains. The mounted warrior let him come within about 100 yards, but then turned and fled when he noticed two other white men, Lewis's fellows in the advance party, coming toward him. Cursing his ill fortune, Lewis nonetheless took hope from the almost meeting. If one Shoshone was here, others were too. It was a matter of finding them. On the next day, August 12, Lewis fulfilled a long-held desire. From the time he had been chosen to co-lead this expedition, he had been aware that the Continental Divide held the key to many of the mysteries of the Far West. Every continent or major body of land has a divide, a high point from which rivers, streams, and creeks flow in opposite directions toward the two coasts. Lewis, Captain William Clark, and the rest of the Corps of Discovery had been traveling uphill for 16 months. They had battled their way upstream, against the current, first on the Missouri River and then on its tributaries, the entire time. Lewis could not know that the area he was in would later be called Lemhi Pass, or that the Continental Divide eventually would form the border between the states of Montana and Idaho. All he knew was that now, for the first time since his party had left St. Louis, Missouri, in May 1804, a stream was running in a different direction. It was running to the west. Here is how Lewis described his joy in the book The Journals of Lewis and Clark, as abridged by Anthony Brandt. The road took us to the most distant fountain of the waters of the mighty Missouri, in search of which we have spent so many toilsome days and restless nights. Thus far I had accomplished one of those great objects on which my mind has been unalterably fixed for many years. Judge then of the pleasure I felt in allaying my thirst with this pure and ice-cold water. Minutes later, as the journal notes, another member of the advance party, Hugh McNeil, stood with a foot on each side of this little rivulet and thanked his God that he had lived to bestride the mighty and heretofore deemed endless Missouri. The Great Reunion. On August 13, Lewis came upon 3 American Indian women near a stream. The women tried to run away, but he caught up with them. He put on his very best behavior and endlessly repeated "ta tabon," which he believed to be the Shoshone word for friend. Suddenly, a party of mounted warriors rode up and surrounded Lewis. Many men would have been overcome by fright. Lewis, however, put down his rifle and walked slowly toward the mounted men, making every sign he knew of friendship and peace. He must have been quite convincing. A few hours later, he was smoking a pipe of peace with a Shoshone chief, a man named Kamiawa, in the chief's lodge. The men's conversation was friendly but limited. Lewis knew
Sample complete. Ready to continue?